Just how great is college football? What if I were to tell you that Florida goes in the swamp, takes down Texas and Arch Manning on the same day that Alabama and Vandy were in a tight one, on the same day that UCLA took down Penn State, a top 10 team. Oh, by the way, a UCLA team that had never won leading an entire game throughout the entire season. Welcome to the College Football Show, presented by AT&T. Matt Sims, Skubie Mageza, I am Sam Ravech. So great to have you along with us here after a crazy Week 6. And to quote the great Bob Ryan character from Entourage, is that something you might be interested in? I think we all would be interested in it. And this has been such a great week. And in a week that really, Scoob, we didn't think might turn out to be a great one. It did.
Yeah, exactly. You look at the paper, you're like, I don't know if it's going to be that much of a great week. But this is college football. You never know what to expect. So thank you all for coming in to watch the show with us. Everybody in the YouTube chat, I will be locked in on you. If you see me with my head down, it's because I'm looking at the chat. I will address you throughout the show. But let's address the things that have happened today. Because, listen, after losing in a double overtime game against Oregon last week, Penn State is thinking, all right, we're going to go against an 0-4 UCLA Bruins team. They just fired their head coach, so we should be good. No, it has to be earned. First quarter, Nico Imaliava ends up hitting Quasi Gilmer for an 11-yard touchdown, and then he finds Tadas Makio Atiamalala, say that 3 times, for a touchdown, and then Nico runs it in for a touchdown here using his leg. That made it 24-7, and they would kick a field goal before the break to make it 27-7. And just take a look at the difference in the box score here, guys, because Penn State has to overcome a 20-point deficit, and they've only done that 4 times in program history. Yeah, they just didn't come out to play in the early goings in this game, and clearly UCLA did. Yeah, and in the third quarter, Penn State said, all right, let's turn up. They sat up like in their gamer seat. And here is Khalil Dinkins getting the pass from Drew Allar, 40-yard touchdown. It's now a 13-point game. Later in the game, UCL punting. UCL getting the L as they get it blocked here. Ends up going for 6. They're cutting into the lead. Franklin is hyped. Fourth quarter. This ends up being a touchdown from Nico. And UCLA ends up running up the score 40.
There's music. There's guys that can't dance that are dancing. There's coaches trying to be dancers. It was exciting to be in there. I mean, it was some Saturday after games that have been kind of lonely and sad. And this will be the first Sunday we have where we kind of celebrate a little bit and enjoy a victory and then get ready for another tough opponent. But that locker room is probably still going in there. You think it's Mardi Gras or something happening.
How can you not love college football when you have days like this? Special.
Obviously, we did not handle last week's loss well. We also lost some players in that game during the week, and then everything else. The travel, everything else. Did not come out with the right energy to start the game. And before you know it, obviously they get a touchdown drive and an onside kick, and now you're fighting. They gain confidence, and we're fighting for the next 3 quarters. So that's my responsibility.
Sound like a whole bunch of excuses to me. Nico Imaliava becomes the first UCLA player with 2 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns in a game in the last 30 years. Shout out to the YouTube chat. I see y'all. You want us to talk about this game quite a bit, but Matt, what a loss, but what a performance.
What a loss, what a performance. I got to start with just Penn State, right? And just the fact that, like, offensively, what is your identity? And that's the biggest concern that I have for this team. Rushed for 157 yards, but it's Drew Allar who had 78 of them. That's not what I was anticipating with this offensive line and this offense performance in this one. Just flat from the start, and, hey, they fought, but that's it.
Road teams really had some issues here in Week 6, and Texas going in the swamp. No exception there. Arch Manning making his first SEC road start down in Gainesville this afternoon. DJ Lagway and the Gators looking for a fast start, something that they quite frankly haven't had for a good portion of this season. Few minutes into the game, Gators ball. Vernell Brown III goes off for a 14-yard run. Gator first down, 3rd and 1 near the end zone for the Gators. How often have we mentioned on this show Why doesn't Florida just run the ball, Maddie? And Jaden Ball and the Gators pounded the rock early and often.
Yes, they did. I'm really proud of Billy Napier, right, for self-scouting and getting it done this week.
All right, here's Lagway passing to Hayden Hansen. He fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by Texas Anthony Hill Jr. Texas ball now. Texas.
Everyone's so good at that. They're just getting rid of the ball, man.
I know.
That's right.
And Arch and Texas really needed to get something going here. Run to the right, that's Trey Wisner for the 6-yard score. Florida still up 10-7. More from Wisner later. We got a blocked punt. That's Jake Bomeister's punt. Taylor Speedo in
Block
Florida.
punts everywhere.
That is a safety, folks. And Florida extends the lead 19-7. We go to the third, late in the third. Now 22-7. Arch Manning launches a pass to Ryan Wingo, who completes a 38-yard touchdown. One of the better passes of the day for Arch.
Hey, best play of the year so far for him. And I love about this, too, the pocket movement, shifts, and then the turn of his upper body. That is something that I feel like if you're going to continue to look at your mechanics, Arch, got to turn more consistently in your rhythm of your throws. You can see as he sets up, that upper body turn creates great torque and accuracy for him to get through that throw.
All right, less than a minute left in the third. Gator ball. It's DJ Lagway. If you don't know the name, you will now.
Yes, sir.
Dallas Wilson, the true freshman, really was the star of the show in the spring game. Missed the first 4 of the season, but man, is he a spark to this offense.
This dude is just, Louis Riddick said it best. He is a grown man in a young boy's body, and it's unbelievable the way this kid plays.
First Florida player with 100 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns in his collegiate debut in the last 30 years. But Arch passed straight to Florida. Jaden Castell for the first interception of the day. Second career game with multiple interceptions for Arch. And I don't know, Matty, it just at times it looked like he was forcing some things and throwing it into double coverage.
Yeah, and here's Devin Moore doing a great job of just playing that high safety position and then getting another interception. But yeah, too many forced plays and too many missed opportunities on normal down and distant passes.
Could say the same thing for DJ Lagway, too, as he was picked off by All-American Michael Taft. There's Manning scrambling. Finally, we got a touchdown there. Florida still up 29-21. Manning was just getting flushed out of the pocket all day long, loses the helmet there.
I mean, 6 sacks in this game. He was getting chased after all afternoon, man, and he tried to make something happen, but just couldn't.
How about this final sequence, too, for Texas? Nearly picked off by Kermani McClain there. And, 6 sacks. This was the final one of the game, and it would end it Florida 29-21. Afterwards, both coaches talked about the programs.
Man, I'm going to tell you something. I'm humbled to be associated with that group of young people, for them to maintain the energy, the attitude, the effort, regardless of the narrative. They ain't no quit in that group.
Ultimately, it's experience, and right now we're just not an experienced group, especially not an experienced group playing together. And so we've got to keep pushing those guys to be the best that they can be. I know there's more in there. I know there's better play in there, and it's our job to get it out of them.
By the way, I don't know that anything Sark just said there is wrong. I mean, they really are a little bit of a younger team.
They are.
But nevertheless, haven't lived up to the hype. That is for certain. 2 losses now on the season, and Texas will absolutely be falling, maybe not only out of the top 10, but maybe out of the top 25.
Hey, Texas, 0 sacks in the day. So inability to affect DJ Lagway. Why? Because Billy Napier, Jaden Ball ran the football, stayed patient with the running attack. That helped DJ Lagway. The 1 interception really was the one bad play that he had all day. Played a really clean game. You see that we're 21-28 for 298. We saw how good this skill group is when they're firing on all cylinders. And then overall, I would just say Texas, hey, 52 rushing yards. Come on now, if you're going to help out a young quarterback and build some chemistry offensively, you got to be a little bit more balanced and take the pressure off those young guys in that skill group room.
Yeah, and don't look now, Florida back in it in the SEC.
Yes, sir.
To compete despite their up and down season and their difficult schedule. And speaking of SEC, we had a great matchup everyone was talking about. I see everyone in the YouTube chat. Vanderbilt, Alabama, Bama looking for revenge against Vandy. Pavia talking that talk all week. You know what it is. Here's their first drive. Cedric Alexander says I'm too fast, too furious, too fast for y'all, man. 65-yard touchdown run, longest play from scrimmage this season for Vandy, and longest play Bama has given up. Vanderbilt jumps the tide early. I'm liking the song we got going on in
I'm
this
thinking,
highlight.
here we go again. This is when I'm like, all right, we got another Vandy game.
All right, Alabama going for it on 4th down. They're one of the best teams in the country at doing this, and Ty Simpson finds his tight end, Josh Cuevas.
Cuevas.
Takes it 18 yards and keeps the drive alive. A few plays later, This is what makes Ty Simpson so good in this Ryan Grubb offense and Ryan Williams. We talked about this.
Draft stock rising.
Alabama ties the game at 7. Jump ahead late in the second. Diego Pavia hits the man who ran for the touchdown earlier, Alexander. With that pitch, this is his 3rd game with the rushing touchdown and receiving touchdown. That's the most in the FBS. Vandy up 7. They really jumped on Bama early, but right here is Bama locked right back in. Simpson finds Williams. They're in enemy territory. A couple plays later, Simpson drops a dime to Jeremy Bernard. Alabama ties the game at 14. 4 straight games with a receiving touchdown for Bernard. 2nd longest streak by an Alabama player over the last 5 seasons.
Yeah.
4th quarter, Alabama up 6. Pavia's pass is intercepted and picked. Listen, he turned the ball over twice in the red zone earlier in the game. He fumbled it. This was costly. Alabama would have 10 points off of his turnovers.
Keon Stott with the interception there.
Minutes later, Pavia trying to keep the game alive. Looking for Eli Stowers, but pass incomplete. Vanderbilt turns it over on downs. Alabama looking to put the nail in the coffin. Jam Miller. To those who were, let's say, had betting interests in the game.
Yeah.
That was not good.
That wasn't.
As Alabama was able to cover because of that touchdown. Jam Miller, 136 yards rushing, most by Alabama running back in a conference game since 2022 when Jahmyr Gibbs did it. They end up winning it 30-14, and now Alabama, a team that had lost to Florida State early in the season to start it, is not looking like a team that has really learned from it and gotten a lot better.
Tough football team. They have found out what their identity is, and it starts with their quarterback, protecting him. They do it in a reverse way. It's attacking through the air with their skill group, and then they're going to lean on you with their big, powerful offensive line and miss you at the end of the football game. So Jam Miller, Ty Simpson, Ryan Grubb, this offense firing on all cylinders. Diego Pavia played well.
Yeah.
If he cleans up those 2 red zone turnovers, this is a totally different football game, and Vanderbilt might have a chance to repeat. But I don't think the Vanderbilt Commodores are going anywhere, man.
Yeah,
I like the way this team
I
looks.
see somebody in the chat right now saying that Vandy is on the come up, so it is not over for Vandy.
They're here. They're here.
They're a playoff football team.
They're going to get some. They're going to get some more teams down the stretch of the season.
No doubt.
Yeah. Maddie, we got Virginia and Louisville. Elliott today.
ACC showdown between number 23 Virginia. Hey, coming off of that great win against Florida State a week ago. Hey, will they use the excuses of travel and all that? No, they won't. All right. Here's Isaac Brown with the fumble picked up and returned by Donovan Platt. Scoop and score. That's how you start the game on the road. Yeah. Right? Defense causing a turnover and scooping and scoring. They go up 7-0. Now, let's check this out, man. Miller Moss. I'm just telling you, some of the throws that he had today to Chris Bell, ridiculous, man. Chris Bell, number 0, but he is number 1, receiver number 1 for the Cardinals. Miller Moss, right? Then punching it in there for the QB sneak to tie it up at 7. Good job responding to that early turnover. Miller Moss really had a tough day, too, just because offensive line has been an issue. We go to the second quarter now. 6 minutes into the second quarter, it's 3rd and 20, and here we got Jamar Taylor rushing it for 19 yards. You can see just running hard.
A little shake and bake like Ricky Bobby?
No doubt. This is a tough Louisville defense, man. They got some dudes out there, but Chandler Moss finds Cam Ross for a 19-yard touchdown, and the Cavaliers go up 14-7. When in doubt, though, Miller Moss back to his boy. Hey, who is that? Chris Bell. Ding, ding, ding. The bell again for the completion there. And look, he's feeling it. I get it, man. I get it. You're uncoverable. When you're covered, you're still open. I love it. Miller Moss now to Chris Bell again, right, for a 15-yard catch and run. And it's a shallow cross, easy for the young man to catch that football. Well-thrown football. Good design play there by Jeff Brom in this offense.
Yeah, so you're saying Jeff Brom knows how to coach offense?
He does know a thing or two about the offensive concept. Now, Miller Moss, this was one thing. Hey, it's a bad play. Don't make it worse. That's something Matt Sims would do. Don't do that.
Right? No,
Cam Robinson
you wouldn't.
with the pick 6 there for a 47-yard return. So that's 2 touchdowns defensively for Virginia. That really is the difference in the game as we get through this highlight. But Miller Moss, who again? Chris Bell, ding, ding, ding. The dinner bell rings again. That's another back shoulder one-handed catch to Chris Bell. How many good receivers are there in the country right now? Here we go. Overtime. Chandler Morris scrambling, trying to make a play.
Gutsy.
Wow. Takes a vicious hit, but this kid is so tough and so gritty. He is okay. He does get up and walk off the field.
Yep.
The following play, Jamari Taylor fights through in that wildcat formation.
Game.
And you see Chandler Morris running out there. He is pumped up. You can tell that he's still feeling it, but it was a gritty football win by this Virginia football team on the road against a very good Louisville football team. Hey, the defense is aggressive. They blitz you. They get after you. So it was a tough day for Chandler Morris. But you see Jamari Taylor did a great job. The defense creating turnovers. Big time win for a team to respond after such a awesome win late against Florida State last week.
It's time to start talking more about Virginia, and they've shown us what type of football team they are. These type of wins, when you're in tough situations in life, they always say it's a character-building situation, right? This was a character-building game for them. To come out of a win here against a team like Louisville is not easy.
I mean, by the way, who had Virginia as ACC frontrunner after Week 6 on their bingo card? Nobody. This is a team that's on the come up, and we're going to have to keep a real close eye on the Who's as we progress on down the
Indiana Hoosiers.
I like that. I like that comp. All right, Georgia licking their wounds from the loss to the Tide at home a week ago. There's Uga.
Such a doggy. Such a cute doggy.
Kentucky has caused Georgia some issues in years past. Not in this one. Gunnar Stockton going to take it in. Georgia goes up 7-0.
That commercial.
This is a great commercial. Stockton used his legs quite a bit here in this game, running away from the pressure, takes it all the way down deep into Kentucky territory. Couple plays later, Stockton calling his own number again. I mean, this is I said it's like a Riley Leonard, but maybe with a little bit of a better arm was a comp that I had, but
I see what you say right there, because he runs the offense well, and in key situations he'll use his legs to be able to get them the first down. And this is just a great throw. And who knew he had wheels like that?
Oscar Delp, the tight end. He's a big dude.
Looking like Brock Bowers there.
No doubt.
First and goal, Dogs. Dylan Bell in the end around. That's like their go-to play in the low red zone.
Absolutely. If you're playing Georgia in the low red zone area, just wherever Dylan Bell is, just get ready for the end around or the speed sweep or something of that nature. They love getting the football in that low red zone area.
How about 16 straight over the Kentucky Wildcats for the Georgia Bulldogs? Nice rebound for Kirby Smart and company, but a road trip to Auburn will await next weekend, so that'll be interesting.
Cutter Bully, though, played well today, right? It's refreshing because Kentucky's defense is scary good, right? If they could just get a little bit more balance offensively, they really can get somebody here late in the year.
All right, let's move on to this game, because we talked about teams to watch out for, and I think Cincinnati is one of them. This is a meeting between Ravech and Brendan Sorsby, and we're going to pick this up 2 minutes into the game, near the 50 for Cincinnati. Sorsby, he's got an arm.
Woo! Look at that.
That is just lightning.
Laser.
Hits Jeff Caldwell there for the first down. That's a 30. They're at the 30-yard line. Next play, how about you give it to the back, Evan Pryor? He's also fast. Bearcats on the board, first up, 7-0. 30 seconds left in the first half now. Sorsby finds his tight end, Joy Royer. Oh, get off of him.
Good
Big
design
man
right there.
Cincinnati takes a 17-0 lead here against a team that is ranked in the top 15 in Iowa State. Now they're up 10-0. Now they're up 24-7, excuse me. And they get in there for another touchdown to make it 31-7. Sorsby taking it in himself. Iowa State trying to make this game into something. Beck completes a nice pass to his Brett Eskildsen. No time left on the clock. Beck goes all in for the touchdown there to give Iowa State some life. It was 31-15 at the half, third quarter. Same score, Iowa State near the end zone.
Good pass.
Wow, this is just a great ball. I mean, they battle back and forth in this game. Now it's 31-22. And watch this throw, Matt. Sorsby to Caleb Goody. And that is very goody.
Iowa State was down their top two cornerbacks in this game, and clearly Cincinnati took advantage of that. Sorsby can air it out with the best of them, so it was really a bad time for Iowa State to not be fully healthy.
Yeah, it's a great point, Sam.
And here as they come back, Beck hit Chase Sowell, 3-yard touchdown. Iowa State going for 2. Here it is. Benjamin Brahmer, impressive catch there. Now it's a 38-30 game. 6 seconds left in the game. Iowa State needs a miracle of some sort. A little pitchy woo-woo action here. What happens? Shout out Scott Van Pelt. Iowa State can't make anything happen on the play. Fans end up storming the field. Sorsby on the field after the game. Take a listen.
I asked your teammate Cyrus Allen if you guys were getting the respect you deserved. He said after this game, we will. What kind of statement was made today?
I think we proved that we can beat pretty much anybody in the country. We believe that we can. We're really excited about this win. It doesn't matter if people give us the respect we deserve. We're going to go out and earn it.
Go enjoy every bit of this. Congrats.
Let's go. Go Bearcats.
38-30 the final there. Cincinnati, another one of those teams, 2-0 in a wide open conference, the Big 12. Call them newcomers, call them whatever you want, but this program and with this quarterback and this offensive coordinator are going to be a problem down the stretch of the season. And oh, by the way, a little bit of a manageable schedule for the Bearcats when you look at it. So that'll be something to watch as we go further on in the season. Let's take a look at our guarantee of the game presented by AT&T. In the case of uncertainty, expectation is what is considered most likely to happen. Well, according to the AP voters, they expected big things from both Texas and Penn State, ranking them number 1 and number 2 in the AP preseason poll. Well, both of those teams picked up their second losses earlier on today. Both of these teams also have elite recruiting classes, quote-unquote NFL caliber talent. How often have we heard that?
Right.
And continuity, at least on paper.
Yeah.
But it hasn't translated to the field, Maddie. Why is that?
I would say the biggest thing, right, is just that, first of all, football is really tough. It's a hard football game. It's a hard sport, right? And it's difficult to put everything together. In Texas's case, I think it really is just the fact the offensive line isn't playing it as a cohesive unit. The rushing attack isn't as effective, and the running back room is not quite as talented as it was a year ago. There's no explosive nature to it. I would also say, too, that, hey, Arch Manning, a young quarterback with a young receiving group around him, and they have just failed to mesh as a unit. And it's hard in modern college football now, with just how many good teams there are and how talented everybody is, to piece it all together week by week. Right? And this is a Florida team that we knew going into it is a talented football team that has been underperforming. And let's just face it, Arch Manning in the offense, they just haven't quite found what their identity is. Arch Manning has not yet hit his stride. He seems to be forcing the issue a little bit too often offensively and trying to make the big play. And let's also just realize, too, that his mechanics and his mind and his feet just aren't quite all matching each other right now. Right? He has the talent. We saw it on the one where he moves and he throws that post route down the middle. It's a beautiful throw. It's in rhythm. You could see, right, the potential that Arch Manning has at the position. But it's just too few and far between right now with the rhythm of this offense. And I think Sark just has to do a little bit better job of trying to make more opportunities easier for him early in the game to build his confidence, to give him easy completions that they can build off of going forward, because the rushing attack really is just what's lacking right now.
Can the same be said for Andy Kotelnicki at Penn State too? Because it feels like these two coordinators, and I know Sark calls a lot of the plays on offense too, or certainly has a big role in that.
It's his offense.
Yes, but it seems like they are unwilling to or just don't want to really adapt to what their personnel is at the moment. They have their systems and they're sticking to it, right? That's at least what it feels like to me.
It's definitely part of it.
Yeah, I would say when you look at all the teams that we're talking about, where you just saw the graphic, Penn State, Texas, and Clemson, the biggest thing that's not clicking is at the quarterback position. They're all underperforming the expectations that were set, because we know the most important position in football is at the quarterback position. And there's a disconnect some way, somehow, with these players. Now, you have to understand, if you're Penn State or Texas, you have a target on your back.
That's right.
Every single week, teams are going to get up to play you. Teams are going to treat this game like it is their Super Bowl. And I think for Texas, you look at it, they didn't have as much energy. They weren't hustling as much as Florida did. Florida wanted this game more. You look at Penn State when they lost the game, same situation. Clemson, when they ended up losing their games, they just don't look like the team that is hustling. And it is almost like they think they're entitled to some type of victory, and that doesn't come in the game of football. And quite frankly, I said this last week, and I'll say it again. the way that college football is set up today with the transfer portal and NIL, there's too much talent spread around for you to think that you're going to be able to win a game every single week.
Yeah.
Nico Imaliava, we saw him at Tennessee last year. We know he has the talent to break open a game and really take over. And I think Penn State found that out the hard way today, right? We know that Florida has a great defense and they have really talented players on the offensive side of the ball, but it just hasn't clicked yet. But this was the game where it did. So every single week you have to be ready. And this is a different era in college football where anyone can get clipped if you do not come in with your hair on fire.
No question about it. And I think when you look at both of these teams, the expectations obviously hasn't matched the results that we've seen on the field, but nevertheless, the talent is still there. These are still two good football teams. Maybe they're not great, maybe they're not elite, but they are still good. So if you had to guarantee me one of these teams, Maddie, turns things around this season and maybe makes a push, I'm not going to say to the playoff, but at least in contention for their conference title, which one of those teams do you think has the capability to do that?
I know pre-show that I was the one that was supposed to take Texas in this situation, right? But as I look at the remaining schedule, I'm also kind of like, whoa, this is a tall task for this football team. Because I think Sark is really making a great point in that post-game press conference, right? Ryan Wingo, sophomore, talented, right? Parker Livingston, talented, freshman, right? DeAndre Moore is kind of their leading guy. He's only a junior. And, of course, Arch at quarterback. We got OU, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Georgia, right? And Texas A&M.
I hear opportunities, though. I hear opportunities.
You know, listen, I think that
here's their schedule right here for everybody that's watching the show.
There's some tough matchups for them going forward. And of course, I believe in Sark and his ability to help Arch develop and continue his growth at the position. But it is going to come with some bruises. It is going to come with some lumps and bumps in the road. There's no doubt about it. The Oklahoma case, I'm just letting you know, Brent Venables, he's bringing the house. So Arch is going to have some opportunities to throw one-on-ones. The big question is just he going to stay upright long enough, right, for a lot of those opportunities. We know how good Vanderbilt is. That's going to be a tough matchup. Vanderbilt is a legit playoff contender football team, right, with that defense. So there is a path. There's no doubt about that. We're going to see Arch grow and become a man right in front of our eyes with the schedule that they have in front of him. And I do believe that Sark has the ability and the voice to guide his young quarterback through that process.
There is a path for both teams. Penn State is not done. I see everybody in the chat because they still have Indiana and Ohio State.
Right.
Now, James Franklin is going to have to do something that we haven't really seen him do, and that's beat a top 10 team, not once, but twice, to be able to make it into the playoffs. But do I feel confident in that? Of course not. I feel more confident in what Texas can do. But just take a look at the rest of Penn State's schedule. With the way that their offense has struggled today, all right? Drew Allar, not being able to, it's sort of the same situation as Arch Manning. We've been waiting longer for Drew Allar to be able to find some consistency on the offensive side of the ball and identity. And this is just everybody cooking them on social media.
SEC Network, Peter Burns chiming in.
And I'm not sure if you can fire James Franklin right now with what everybody is saying because his buyout is believed to be somewhere around $50 million, and the jokes just continue to come in. But Allar, just not good enough. 200 passing yards against a team like UCLA. And meanwhile, his former backup, Bo Pribula, has shined so far this season for Missouri. So this is now the second time we've seen that. Remember Will Levis when he ended up leaving
but
and he ended up playing well?
If Bo was playing in this offense too, I think he'd be having the same problem.
I agree.
You know, so I think the problem is bigger than just the one player. I know it's easy for us to do that, but the truth is both teams lack identity. What do they do well? Where do they hang their hat? Penn State, it's like, quote unquote, the defense.
Same with Texas, though.
Exactly. And I don't know if that's really the truth of either team right now. So both teams, September has not gone the way that they wanted. October, not starting the way that they wanted. All right. So there's still some great opportunities ahead of them. But really the biggest thing is just like, can you find out what it is that you do really well? Because right now I think that is what's missing the mark.
Some of these coaches are out coaching them. They're coming in being really aggressive. Just look at what UCLA was able to do, kicking that onside kick, right? And just jumping on top of them, being really aggressive by going for it. I mean, some of them they didn't get. But Nico Imaliava using his legs, because we know in the quarterback run game you have an extra blocker on big third downs. they were able to convert to a clip that they haven't been able to do all season. And then you talk about the new offensive coordinator. What UCLA did was fire their head coach, fire both of their coordinators, and then Jerry Neuheisel, a coach's son, a guy who has grown up around the game of football, right? They weren't chatting for Nico. They were chatting Jerry. They lifted
like
him,
right?
They lifted him out of the stadium at the Rose Bowl, and we were laughing because during the game, when you started to see this upset brewing, you look around the stadium and it's empty. And I was like, oh, by the fourth quarter, you're going to see the Rose Bowl packed. That's exactly what it was because people got hyped up. And I think it is fair to say that we should start to reconsider James Franklin. Maybe they should mutually part ways rather than him being fired, because that's different from buying him out, right, in this situation. But coaching matters. And we saw it for UCLA, a team that was 0-4. All of a sudden, you got this new offensive coordinator who has now introduced himself to the world as somebody who not only instilled confidence in Nico Imaliava, but the entire team, and a coach who was willing to be aggressive and put belief into his team. They believed even though nobody else believed.
It's also accountability, though. We just heard James Franklin list off a couple of excuses as to why the team didn't show up today. I didn't hear Dan Lanning having to complain about a flight across the country and bringing a young team across the country to go win at James Franklin's place.
Yeah, with a young quarterback.
With a young quarterback. Yeah. So it's these kind of same things that keep coming up with this Penn State team.
And look, I mean, Penn State gave up 42 points to UCLA, right? That's a Jim Knowles coach defense, right? This guy knows how to coach that side of the football. So right now, just Penn State overall, the lack of leadership and the veteran leadership is the biggest concern, I think, for this football team.
All right, you can catch us here live every single Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, or really any day of the week, because this show is live on VOD, so you can watch us on Sunday morning before you get your NFL fix as well. Don't forget, Countdown to Game Day starting at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time every Saturday. Either way, we have got you covered before and after all the big games on Saturdays. We'll break down every big game, every upset, and every notable storyline from all day long, all season long. Your Saturdays belong here. Time now for the Playbook presented by Modelo. We go back to the touchscreen with our very own QB, Maddie Sims. Maddie, I think we didn't do this, but folks at home, if they stopped watching college football after week one of the beatdown Florida State gave to Alabama, you might be asking yourself, how is it possible that Ty Simpson has the second shortest odds to win the Heisman? We have some plays to break down exactly why. But before we get to that, what has been the biggest change for you when you look at this Alabama team and their signal caller from week one now to week 6?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just the empowerment of the quarterback position, right? And Ryan Grubb just saying, hey, here are the keys to the offense. Everything is going to run through you. And we expect you to get us into the proper play every single time. And that's why you can see Ty Simpson before a lot of the snaps that take place in this football game. He's at the line of scrimmage. He's directing. He's changing the formation. He's setting up the protection. And that's really where I feel like this guy, it just shows you. It's between the ears, but it's also the talent that he shows on the field between the lines.
No question about it. All right, so what do we got on tape here?
All right, so here we go. We got a bunch set here in the low red zone area, and I love this concept because it just kind of shows you, again, these condensed formations right now. And this is really a trend right now for a lot of these offenses across college football, and Shannon Dawson joined with Miami as well. Condensed formations are difficult to defend. So Alabama is going to have a low cross here and then a high cross over the top.
Yep.
All right, Ryan Williams, the single receiver here in a condensed formation as well, is going to do basically a corner route from this tight position. All right, now Vanderbilt matches this up with man coverage. We're going to fake the toss over here to the running back. The tight end will be out here, so that's basically just like window dressing. All right, Vanderbilt matches with a man coverage. It's beautiful, right? They match it up perfectly. They play through all of this traffic. They do a great job of pursuing here on the edge. Great job cutting off the quarterback. You would think this is a dead play, right? But great job by Ty Simpson. Change of direction, set, attack the line of scrimmage. He's almost taken off like he's getting ready to go and run, right? But then all of a sudden, Ryan Williams puts on the brakes, running that corner route, and then retraces back into the field. And then the accuracy and the power right there to the back of the end zone was so impressive. So here's the back end zone view of it, right? We're going to fake the toss. When we fake the toss, we got the whole defense running this way. We're thinking with our speed, we're going to outflank that defense. We're going to get somebody here across the middle for an explosive play. Vanderbilt, wow, everybody is locked up here. But this is just extra stuff. We saw this against Georgia. He did the exact same thing against Georgia. Put on the brakes, Ryan Williams selling that corner overplays it. He also puts on the brakes. Beautiful rhythm right there on the back. And that's where it's like, hey, we could draw it up as much as you want, but then it's, you got to make plays, and that's why they call it playmaking, right? And that's exactly what Alabama, I almost said Tennessee there, but hey, that's what Alabama does so consistently right now on the offensive side of the football.
That capped off a 12-play, 92-yard drive and ate up 7.5 minutes of clock.
Yes.
But here we go, 23 seconds left to go. This final drive and this sequence might have been the most important sequence of the entire game, and the featured wideout here is Jeremy Bernard.
And when did they start this drive? How much time was on the clock?
It was like 55 seconds.
About 50-something seconds on the clock, right? So that just shows you that this team, they can score fast and quick and be aggressive. So we got a Tennessee-like formation here. And that's why it was on the brain, guys, okay?
It's always on the brain.
It's been a long day of football. But they have those Tennessee splits, right, where they're stretching the field sideline to sideline. This is where, unfortunately, Vanderbilt is going to be sick to their stomach because they had the right calls a lot throughout the game. So they're going to run essentially 3 cloud, right? So they're going to have flat defenders here. This safety is going deep third here, deep middle, and then deep third here. So you would think on the back end, we have it all covered.
Got it covered,
right? We got it all covered. But this is where, again, just the eye discipline of the defenders with that release, with that stack release, that first guy goes in on the post. Look at Jeremy Bernard following the wake and the trail, right, of the guy in front of him. He gets into the blind spot of the corner and then immediately right off the heels goes right down the sideline. And this is where the safety has to be more disciplined. He gets caught looking inside, right to this inside post route. Hey, that safety covered it. Let him do his job. Your responsibility to stay as wide as the widest. You can see he's late getting there.
Yeah.
So he's late getting there, and with Ty Simpson's ability to drive the football with power and with accuracy, he's able to beat the defender really quickly. So you can see they're shifting here. Deep third, deep third, deep third. Why are we so close, though, between, right, the hash and the numbers here? We should be a little bit wider or wide as the widest, which is Bernard here. We get a little caught inside with our eyes looking at the quarterback. But, man, look at the accuracy and the drive of the ball right over the shoulder in stride. Unbelievable throw and connection there between those two.
So with that drive, again, crucial, go into the half, all tied up 14-14. And Simpson kind of extended what was really a remarkable run. 4 straight games that he has had a drive to end the half with a score. So really remarkable stuff from Ty Simpson. All right, what do we have here all knotted up at 14?
So here we go again. Vanderbilt got the right call, got it dialed up the way they want to. They're going to blitz this middle backer right here. They're going to add on the safety late. This defense end is going to drop out, and they're going to play cover 3. So this is like a version of a fire zone behind it. All right, now this is what's concerning, though, as well for Vanderbilt. The eye discipline as the play plays out. Alabama's going to match this with a deep curl. They're going to chip the defensive end and run a sit route. The receiver right here has a post. And then again, Ryan Williams following in the wake of that post route, and then he's going to run just a wide and go right down the sideline. You're going to notice here that when we start this play, this corner is just going to get lost right here on the slot receiver for too long. He's going to carry with his eyes and get dragged into the field a little bit too long. But the key is this, though. This is why this play works so well. The offensive line blocking up the zone pressure. And then also Jam Miller fitting in and taking care of the safety, that extra guy in the box that they can't account for. Does a great job holding ground, creating that beautiful pocket right here for Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson has the ability now to go to 1, to 2, to 3, and oh yeah, to 4 off his back foot, right down the right sideline. And then Ryan Williams, we've seen this. His ability to adjust to the football that's underthrown just slightly, right, is just absolutely tremendous.
How about the improvement of the offensive line, too, over the course of the last couple of weeks? Because it feels like he's got more time back there, and he can carve you up if you've got time.
And you're right. And that's where, like, they're kind of doing a reverse way of attacking defenses. They're saying, we're going to wear you out with Ty Simpson in the passing game, and then we're going to lean on you and run the football late in the fourth quarter. So I love that combination because that's the way that they're designed. That's the best way to fit Ty Simpson's skill set and what the offensive line is doing. But it's just a great protection there. Great job sifting through that traffic, right, with that cross blitz. You can see that he's resetting now. He's on his back foot, leaning back like this. Watch the turn. You see the upper body turning into that back foot, like almost like a great home run hitter, and that's where he's able to just drive off that back foot and launch it for a great completion there.
Torpedo!
Hey, harpoon the whale, Captain. That's exactly what we did there. But Ty Simpson is just absolutely dealing, and man, I love the way this kid's playing football.
Well, look, after a transition year in which Alabama had some tough-to-answer questionable losses, add on the fuel of missing the playoffs and losing to this team last year, feels like this iteration of Alabama can certainly go the distance.
No doubt.
It'll be fun to watch the rest of the season. Thank you, Maddie. That was the playbook presented by Modelo. All right, let's get to some of the top plays that we saw in the world of Week 6. Clemson squaring off against North Carolina. Battle of legendary coaches. At least one of them looked legendary today. The other, not so much. Clemson got the scoring started there. A little double pass. That's Klubnik to Antonio Williams, who threw the downfield pass to a wide-open T.J. Moore for a 75-yard score. That got the route started for the Tigers. Back to the drawing board for Coach Belichick.
Looking a little tricky like Run DMC. How about Navy and Air Force facing off? Thank you for your service. We typically don't see Navy airing this thing out, but wow. That's what we're doing. Blake Horvath fakes a QB run, throws it deep, and that's how you make that one-handed grab, baby.
No question about it. How about UCLA today, man? Taking on number 7 Penn State. The Bruins got the first score. They wanted to make sure they got a second too. Tim Skipper, interim coach, went with a surprise onside kick in the first quarter, and he caught Penn State sleeping, and it paid off. That would come up big time later on.
Ride with you, Skip.
All right, how about this one? We got another one coming from a one-handed grab in the Baylor game.
Yeah.
Take another look at this. Going deep. See him down the left side. That's all up in your face.
Wow.
A little sticky. Michael Trey there.
Baylor battled back late in that one. Morgan State taking out Georgetown, and the Bears up 3. Couple seconds to play. Des Thomas II throws up a prayer to Jimmy Kibble, who comes down with the ball.
Kibbles and bits. Count it, baby.
That's right. Kibble. Great last name.
All right, how about some not top plays?
Yeah.
We're going to go back to Chapel Hill, Chapel Bill. You call it what you want, but this one got ugly quick.
Grief.
And the fans were not sticking around to see how it ended. My guy over here dressed up in a shark costume, baby shark, whatever you want to call it. Tar Heels laid a stinker. It's just been real stinky at UNC this season.
By the way, it was like 1,000 degrees everywhere. Oh my gosh. That was defender tried to step up and make the tackle. That's sometimes you bring the hammer down. I mean, that is aggressive. Aggressive running.
A grown man right there. Oh, look at the violence there at the point of attack. Unbelievable.
All right, how about more from the Kansas State and Baylor game? This one was back and forth. The Wildcats were up big. And then Baylor battled back and took the lead. But K-State, chance to win it, field goal, but it's blocked.
They were all over that one.
I mean, we're seeing this all over in the NFL, and I guess it's just making its way into the college game.
The copycat league, Scoop.
Update from the 12th man. They're 2-0. Texas A&M continues to cruise against the Mississippi State team. Talk about teams that are on the rise and on the come-up. Jeff Levy and their team probably going to clip somebody at some point. It is not Texas A&M. They improved to 5-0 and 2-0 in SEC play. Marcel Reed, another impressive one. You know, he's kind of he's a big play guy, Maddie, right? You got to take some of the lumps that you get with some of the good.
He's still a young football player that's developing, but he has vastly improved from a year ago, and I expect him to continue to have just more confidence as the season progresses, as he gets more confident, too, with his young receiver core that surrounds him with Concepcion, of course, and Craver. Really love what Texas A&M is doing on all 3 phases of their team right now.
And I mean, today was a big day for them running the ball. Almost 300 yards on the ground. Didn't really do too much in the passing game, but they did what they had to do. And like we said it before with Arch Manning and Andrew Allar, you got to have a running attack with these young quarterbacks to support them to be able to do their thing.
All right, for the 27th time in the illustrious history of this series, and the first time since 2016, the Canes and Noles met as ranked teams in Tallahassee this evening. Florida State counted out for all intents and purposes following the loss to Virginia last Friday. How would they respond? First quarter, Miami down 3-0. Beck goes deep. C.J. Daniels, the Liberty transfer, 47-yard strike. Ooh. That connection has been on It's just been on all year long.
It's on. It's staying on. Yeah. Keep the lights on, Mom, okay, because these guys are scary. All right. And then there again, too, just the RPO in the low red zone. C.J. Daniels with a little double move there. I mean, that was like a point guard out of the NBA, how easy made that look.
This was a Miami beatdown for a good chunk of this game. Tommy Castellanos looking deep. He's going to be picked off by Bryce Fitzgerald. And he's going to take it all the way back into Knoll territory.
I mean, this just wasn't a great read, great throw by Tommy Castellanos, but this Miami defense is showing itself to be one of the best in the country.
Miami trying to take advantage here. They're going to break out the little flea flicker here. Malachi Toney is the man down deep.
Look at this.
That's dropped in a bucket.
He's a freshman! And what a throw! You might as well have handed it off to him, huh?
That was a handoff. They just chose to throw it really far to each other on the handoff.
14-3 now, third quarter. Miami going for it on 4th and 2. Beck finding Toney again, and how about a 40-yard strike? A lot of yak here in this game.
Man, you know, Malachi Toney, just good luck covering him in man coverage in that underneath area part. I mean, his short area quickness, ability to catch and run is just tremendous.
And
Number 10.
Let's not forget, he had a touchdown call back, too. That was amazing.
Yeah,
he's a superstar.
All right, Florida State trying to get some offense going, and that looked a little like desperation time there for Castellanos. This time it's Jacoby Thomas.
Yeah.
He had a day today.
Yeah,
man, he was all over the field.
Next drive for Miami, Beck swings it out to Daniels on the bubble screen. He's in for the score. Miami up big, 28-3.
Love the receiver screen into the boundary right there. Good call by Shannon Dawson there.
Fourth quarter now. Castellanos, look, I'll give Florida State some credit. They could have packed things up and went home. But in the fourth quarter, they started to ease into the game just a little bit too little too late. That's Randy Pittman Jr. for the score.
Yeah, like it, though. Really like the way that they fought in this football game. They kept battling. Mike Norvell's energy never ceased to stop at all. He continued to motivate his football team. And Tommy Castellanos did some good things passing the football here late in the game.
He got hit here on the two-point conversion. Was able to get back up. Florida State cuts the lead down to 9, and then after a Miami turnover on downs, we had a field goal, 35-yard attempt. That's good.
Yeah.
28-22, so we got an onside kick. Florida State should have recovered this.
Yeah, honestly, they had a great opportunity at the ball, but just wasn't able to get it. But way to make a game that was starting to look like a blowout, a game.
Yeah, Florida State, you know, give them credit. They came back in this one in the fourth quarter, but 28-22 is the final there. Miami at number 3 right now in the AP poll. I'm not going to say there's going to be a ton of movement up ahead of them, but it's hard not to look at this team and at least ask the question, like, is this the best team in the country right now?
They absolutely are. I said it last week, and I stand by what I said last week, too. I think Miami is numero uno, right, as far as just the way that they play. And credit to Florida State, the way that they battled back in that football game. Biggest thing, right, is just defense starting a little bit faster, right? So this is 2 weeks in a row now that the Florida State defense has been just a little bit behind the 8 ball, right? Offense is carrying them a little bit. But overall, I think Miami, just with their counter punches here late in the first quarter, in the second quarter, just overwhelmed Florida State with their athleticism, their speed. And it just seems like no matter what, there's somebody on the Miami defense that is going to show out and play. And today, that was Jacoby Thomas. He had an interception. He had a forced fumble.
So good.
Right? He had a sack. So the ability to move around and to make plays along with that talented defensive front, very impressive performance by Miami in this football game.
The defense lost them in a lot of games last year, and quite frankly, probably held them out of the playoffs.
That's right.
Especially the defensive backfield. That was a huge problem for them, and the running game was going to be challenged today. I mean, Florida State is the highest scoring offense in the entire country. They're averaging about 50 points per game, almost 600 yards per game coming in, and they kept them in check. I mean, they did a really good job at slowing down this quarterback running game that Florida State has. They have one of the best rushing attacks in the country, but Miami got to do what they wanted to do to them. I mean, you have all these athletic big men on the defensive front, and they were able to slow down the quarterback run game, slow down the rushing game altogether. And then on the offensive side of the ball, Carson Beck made some really good throws. I mean, you saw him, one clip of him counting 1, 2, 3, 4. That's because he had 4 touchdowns in this game. This is a guy who came into the game with the highest completion rate in the ACC at 73% per throw.
Right here.
In the season. But
ridiculous.
But that throw right there is what I wanted to see more from him, because what we've been seeing is this. A lot of the throws that have been, under 10 yards.
In the boundary, yeah.
But when you talk about throws 10 yards down the field, Carson Beck was only completing 47% of those passes, which ranked 11th in the ACC. So he wasn't great when it came down to deep throw passes. But today he was.
Yeah.
And he hit those throws. And I think we're starting to realize that he's got the weapons. And not only the weapons, the offensive line, because they're giving him all the time in the world.
That's the biggest thing right there. Now, Miami didn't run the football as effectively as they typically do, right? But still, they were getting attempts, staying balanced that way. The 4-minute drill and all that at the end, hey, that's something that clearly is going to be on the top of Shannon Dawson's list of improving there, because they got to close out this game a little bit better. Leaving Florida State the opportunity to sneak back in is dangerous. But overall, the protection of Carson Beck is impressive. That's also a problem, I think, for Florida State going forward. How do you create more pressure to affect passers? Chandler Morris, Carson Beck, two guys, a lot of time to throw the football. So got to affect the passer a little bit more, right, to help out your defense and create more turnovers. Offensively, though, I think for Miami, just the formations, the plays, the way they attack you, it's so difficult to defend. The formations alone, all those condensed splits, it's about gap contain in the running game. But then, of course, with the condensed splits, you have these great opportunities in the passing game to really push, right, the concepts and how you attack sideline to sideline and the vertical deep shots. So it really is just like an awesome way for this offense to be developed. They got a really good thing going right now, and I don't expect it to slow down at all, because now the defense is coming along with that secondary too, making plays for them.
Biggest question for me, I think Miami fans are probably cautiously optimistic, because they've seen these starts before. They've seen a 5-0 start, but they've seen bad finishes. 2023, they finished 1-3. 2024, they finished 1-4, I think, and then last year they finished 1-3 down the stretch. So in a game that eventually kept them out of the ACC title game with the loss to Syracuse. So, but this team does feel a little bit different than years past, because all of those teams, those three that I just listed, all had their holes, and this team just feels like a more complete unit. Florida State has kind of looked a little bit like a shell of themselves, or at least from what we saw in week 1 when they took down Alabama. Just as Florida State has been trending down, Crimson Tide have been trending up the other way. And I think they erased kind of any doubt that they are maybe not a contender this year by taking down the Vanderbilt team that beat them a year ago this afternoon. So there were a lot of potential potholes, too, for Alabama coming into this week 6, coming off the Georgia win last weekend. Could have easily kind of had a come down back home. Obviously, a Vandy team coming into town that's been, talking their talk, like you said, Scoob, all offseason, and at SEC Media Days about what they were going to do to Alabama in this game. What did Alabama do differently, Scoob, in this matchup that they didn't do last year in Nashville?
Alabama dominated the time of possession. When you look at it last year, they only had the ball for 17 minutes and 52 seconds in the loss. Vanderbilt basically made sure that they only had a single possession that lasted longer than 4 minutes in the game. And this time, Alabama had the ball for over 37 minutes, 20 minutes more than they had last year. They had 4 scoring drives that lasted over 5 minutes. And one of the question marks for Alabama for me coming into this game was like, can they be able to run the ball? Can they get a running game cooking? They had Jam Miller return last week, and it was a huge help. Big body back. He can really generate some big runs for you. The defense is going to get tired of hitting him. He had 136 yards rushing, the most that an Alabama running back has had in a conference game since Jahmyr Gibbs had that in 2022. So they're able to hurt you in the running game now. They're holding on to the ball. Ryan Grubb has been in his Louis bag. What in the world is in that bag? What you got in that bag?
It's actually a go yard. It's that special, right? All right,
Well, any time that they're in a situation where they got to have it, they get creative with the play calls. They know how to get Ryan Williams the ball. Bernard is involved in every single key situation that they need him. When Simpson targeted Ryan, he was perfect on the day. So they're able to do a lot of different things. I mean, we're seeing Caden Proctor being involved in the offense in back-to-back weeks now. He's just playing games. It's like an Andy Reid offense. You don't know where they're going to hit you from. And I think Ty Simpson needs to be added into the Heisman conversation, because he's playing ball to an elite level. And just a credit to him, a guy who's stuck with Alabama, a 4-year junior, 2022 5-star recruit under Nick Saban, who's just been working and developing instead of negotiating.
Old school, baby.
And going in the portal. So a lot of credit to him, a lot of credit to Alabama and this office getting better. each and every week.
No doubt, Scoop. I totally agree with everything that you just said. And you know why? Because it's facts. All right. That's really what it comes down to. All right? And Kane Womack, right, defensive coordinator for Alabama, phenomenal job today. Right, because I think that's the biggest thing. When you see Diego Pavia and this team, it's no longer this gadget football team, right? They're an aggressive, downfield, down and distance passing attack, and they mix in some great gadget plays off of that, like these shovel passes. These were plays that were absolutely detrimental to Alabama a year ago. Last year, that was a gain of 15, 20.
Yeah.
Today, it was a gain of 6. The speed of which Alabama played today was very impressive. Now, hey, Diego, he definitely had his moments. There's no doubt about it. But the turnovers in the low red zone, that's where Alabama won this football game. Justin Jefferson with that strip, right, going into the low red zone area for Diego Pavia, that was a huge play in the game. That totally changed the whole vibe of how Alabama felt about themselves. And then, of course, later on, Keon Saab, right, with a really good defensive call by Womack, a look that Diego probably has not seen from the Alabama defense all season long. He was able to intercept that pass in that low red zone area. So the mixture of looks, the speed in which they're playing with, the ability to play on the back end, especially by Justin Jefferson and Deontay Lawson, their linebackers, those leadership guys, right, with Damani Jackson on the outside at corner, Keon Saab at safety. Man, the secondary is coming along, and really the big question mark really for Alabama going forward is, can you pressure the quarterback when you have to, right? That's the one thing that I would say is like, it's a little bit of their issue. When they need to get after the passer, can they do it? He's going to have to be creative, Womack, with just sending pressures right from the secondary, from the linebacker unit as they get into that, which will be a tough thing to do, especially against some of the better skill groups in the SEC.
But it seems like this Alabama team, their strength is their offense, what they're able to do offensively. I mean, 7 for 15 on third down, yet again, playing really well there. Their first turnover all season was in this game. Ty Simpson threw an interception. They're one of the few teams in college football yet to throw an interception. But I think when you look at it, the way that their defense is able to create turnovers in key situations was huge. I mean, 2 turnovers in the red zone for Diego Pavia that generated 10 points for Alabama. When you think about it, that's at least 3-3 or 7-7 or 7-3. That's a huge swing. So I say that all to say this, that Vandy is still a team that should not be taken lightly.
No.
This is becoming a rivalry that I'm going to enjoy every single year. Vandy and Bama.
You like that I said that earlier today, right? This is a new rivalry, man. It is.
Keep it going.
I don't know what the damn award is for them, but make something up and let's get this going. This is a real thing.
Yeah, there's plenty of weird trophies in college football. You could
we can add another one.
You could come up with something. Not? But yeah, I mean, the narrative coming into this one was that Alabama has struggled with running quarterbacks. It really wasn't running quarterbacks as much as it was tackling in open space.
Right.
And I feel like they made the tackles when they needed to today to try and kind of stop this offense. But as we near kind of the halfway point of the 2025 season, the race for the game's most prestigious award, the Heisman Award winner, is on. So let's take we're gonna skip Heisman Award. But
we're going to check it at the line, just like Ty Simpson.
We're going to check in on that next week because next week we're going to talk a little bit more about Heisman. Let's talk about some of the most improving teams.
Haynes King and what he's been able to do this season. Georgia Tech is such a tough football team, and I don't think anybody saw them being able to accomplish what they've been doing so far. And then Texas Tech, I mean, you pump money into your team and you get those talented players to come over there. You're all of a sudden a contender. And don't tell me you can't turn it around in 1 year, because that's exactly what they did. In Virginia, my God, huge win against Louisville. Back-to-back weeks where they play in overtime. And then Oklahoma and Cincinnati. I know you guys are huge on those teams as well. Great defense and then great quarterback, great offense there that they got going on. What do you guys think of the list so far?
Man, well, first of all right, Sorsby, let's start talking about potential Heisman candidate going forward, With Texas Tech, I think you're exactly right. McGuire and the way that he developed his football team, and really, hey, Romello Height at defensive end, David Bailey, of course, Skygill, and all those guys in the interior part of it. Lee Hunter playing phenomenal football. But it's also Rodriguez, the middle linebacker. Man, he is a bad dude, really good on the defense side of the football. To go along with that high-powered offense, got 2 great quarterbacks, so I love that addition right there.
So out of these 5 teams, which one of them would you trust the most to actually advance and win some games in the college football playoff?
All right, the Oklahoma situation and John Mateer definitely scares me for sure, I would definitely go with probably Texas Tech as my team.
It's
Texas Tech. They're the safest bet, especially because of the defensive line and how they've been playing. So I definitely would say Texas Tech. Coach Wood has that team playing really, really well. Another team that I kind of want to get into the mix just of this conversation, how about the Maryland Terps, right? I mean, they are playing some really good football, and it starts with their quarterback, Malik Washington, and how well he's doing. Offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton loves this kid. He said that he is awesome as far as just understanding and the leadership and all that of what they're trying to do. They got a lot of really good young football players, too, on that football team. So they have some really good, talented young football players. They lost the tough one today against Washington. Washington is another team that could be in this conversation as well as most improved. But, yeah, Maryland, have to give them their flowers. They're a team that's on the rise.
And by the way, this isn't the top. Well, like who we think is better. We're just saying the teams that have improved for everybody that's watching right now.
Yeah. This team was like towards the bottom of FBS in points per game allowed last year.
Yeah.
They're one of the best.
I mean, they've never played in a Big 12 championship game, never finished in the top 15. I mean, they're about to have an incredible season, and the switch up that they've been able to do this year has been everything but of the word improved.
How about this team? I know they lost earlier today.
It's a great point. Yeah.
But they won 2 games.
They're still in it.
They won 2 games last year, and we have some folks saying Memphis.
I mean, Maryland did lose to Washington today as well.
Yeah.
So by the way, we haven't talked a ton about the Group of 5 winner.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
It's going to come from this conference probably, from the AAC.
Agree.
Memphis with the win over Arkansas earlier this season. They've got a veteran team, a couple of transfers on that squad as well. So that's going to be fun to watch, whether it be the race between them, USF, obviously Tulane. So Memphis is certainly an improvement.
This is just really fun. I mean, they beat Florida State, and everyone was kind of like, "Oh, you lost to Virginia, and all of a sudden they're in the top 25. They get that win against Louisville. I'm curious as to where these AP voters are really going to jump Virginia up to this point. They're a solid team, man. And you said it earlier in the show. Now they're one of the contenders for the ACC to win the whole thing. Like, who had that on their bingo card to start the season? And I know they had a good year, but Missouri is another team that I think that has really improved with Bo Pabilo on their roster. A backup from Penn State coming there, playing the quarterback position really well. Hardy. One of the toughest running backs in the entire country.
Absolutely.
I mean, they got a great 1-2 punch there.
So you're talking about a Heisman contender, but And it's funny you put
friend of the show, by the way.
It's funny that you put them in that conversation because this was a 10-win team last year. But I completely agree with you. They're a better team than they were last year. I'm taking them a little bit more seriously than I did last year as far as an SEC title hunt.
No doubt. And it starts with just the fact that their quarterback's a playmaker and they can run the football, and the offensive line is playing extremely well, and the defense is much improved from a year ago.
But hey, what about Vandy as well? I mean, I know they lost today, and we still have some faith in them to be able to make some noise, man.
Man, I think just get used to the Commodores being in the conversation. I don't think they're going anywhere. I think they're a playoff caliber football team. I really do. The defense side of the football is loaded with talent. They got skill. They got ability. The leadership by Diego Pavia is legit, right? I think the offensive structure is very difficult to defend.
Who do you say Pavia remind you of?
Who did I say? He is. He's Baker. He is. He's Baker Mayfield. He plays with that type of attitude, that chip on his shoulder. He can throw the football aggressively down the field. He is not afraid, right, to cut it loose. And I think that's going to favor them very well as the year goes on.
So as you can see, a lot of debate between who is the most improved team. And again, you could pick a whole host of these teams that have improved throughout the course of the offseason.
Minnesota's a good one, too. Minnesota's doing some good things, too.
Cal and Duke tied right now, late 21 also. Keep an eye on that one. But, yeah, those were...
Mesta Megare, the quarterback there for North Texas, he's playing really well. So Texas Tech balanced, right? Georgia Tech, it kind of starts with their offense, man. All these teams got a great mixture of things that they can attack you with.
All right, let's make some game picks. This has been my favorite segment of the entire year, by the way. You guys are catching up.
We're chipping away.
The week that you and I separate, whoever falls behind, we're going to be like, oh, shh.
I am not going to be humble when I take the lead. I know that. I am definitely
You're a humble person. All right, so we're going to pick Oregon, Indiana. I believe that game day announced they were heading out to Eugene, Oregon. So Indiana and Oregon, top 10 showdown out there in Eugene. Maddie, who you like in this one?
Hey, you know what? Remember when I said Oregon earlier? I switched. I went to Indiana. I'm going to take the Hoosiers. Kirsty Diddy and the boys. And you know why?
Right.
I'm taking Fernando Mendoza, right, to have a big win on the road. I also love the running back room. I think Elijah Surratt's going to be a real problem for the secondary. So I'm going to take the Indiana Hoosiers in a big win.
Talk about a great matchup between two coaches that are just twisted.
Yeah, let's not even play, dude. Let's just get them in a ring and just say, hey, go, have at it.
It's a big UFC night if you're not watching.
That's right.
But I'm going with Oregon to win this game. No way Dan Lanning doesn't have these boys fired up to play Dante Moore, more squared, one of the best combinations in the country. I trust in them to get this game. Sam, who are you going with, Mr. 9-1?
I'm going with Oregon, too. Although I will say, Maddie, I like that pick because seeing Indiana go on the road and get a win at Iowa, a tough place to play.
Yeah, man.
I think that they can go in there and win that game.
Hey, it's a tough football team.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, that's going to be an ugly football game.
This
They're
is
gonna
really
make it
hard
tough
to
on
pick.
them.
This is a
Red
tough
River
one.
rivalry?
Tough one to pick. Obviously, John Mateer likely not going to be in this game, although I think I did see him in pads earlier today, which was an interesting sight. But, yeah, we'll see. Michael Hawkins Jr., the quarterback there for Oklahoma.
Yes,
they
sir.
played Penn State today.
Yeah.
Not much you can take away from that.
He did his thing today.
Did his thing.
Yeah,
but
got some experience. That's what matters.
Defense was picked apart a little bit today.
Is racking up checks. They got a Power 5 schedule, man. A Power 4 schedule, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to go with Texas here.
Okay, you're going
with Texas. Okay.
Yeah. I got to go with Texas. I just don't.
Texas, baby. I can't root for OU in this matchup. Come on,
with
Chris Sims, Texas Longhorns.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to get that dub, man. Let's go.
I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going with Brent Venables to dial up some defense against Arch Manning, make him uncomfortable. Saw he was sacked 6 times today. I think we're looking at another 6+ next week.
I can see it right now. Arch Manning with the fake little screen and go down to DeAndre Moore for a touchdown.
You'll
see.
You're going to pick it up?
You'll see it, baby.
It's a great week of college football coming up next week in Week 7.
It's a great week every week.
It's a great week every week. It is, to be fair. This was a good one as well. But really appreciate you guys tuning into on the YouTube, ESPN YouTube College Football app.
Yeah.
And make sure you come back next week.
Hey,
we're going to be here.
Check us out.
I guarantee you that. So thank you so much for watching the College Football Show presented by AT&T. For Scoob, for Matt, and our entire crew. I am Sam. We'll see you next week, everybody.
See ya.